Being so ingrained in the gaming culture as I am, the number one topic that comes up all the time is digital versus physical media. Now, obviously, I love physical. You can see behind me, I've got a few games on the shelf, but I know tons of people that only play their games digitally. So the question is, who's right? Everybody has an opinion about it. And guess what? No matter what your opinion is, you're correct. Whether you're on one side or the other, it doesn't matter to me. But I, RNG Gamer, am going to tell you about a couple of things dealing with this entire topic that I never hear anybody ever really talk about. I hear so many reasons one is better than the other, but nobody ever talks about these. And these are like the most important ones to me. Now, some of these things might make you feel a little uncomfortable. And a lot of these things are probably just going to reaffirm what you already believe. But it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it anyway. We're just going to dive in. So buckle up and let's talk about digital versus physical. Now, the number one argument I hear for digital media, convenience. It's the most important thing, it seems like, to the modern world. And there are lots of little criteria that fit in to the umbrella of convenience. The number one is physical games take up space. That is true. If you live in a small apartment in a big city and you love video games and you just have no freaking room, and believe me, I've lived in a couple of those apartments, you got to go digital. That's it. End of conversation. You have no other option. You also don't get to own a four-wheeler or 3 cars or 900 books. All you get is your freaking fold-out Murphy bed and your one TV and your tiny little kitchen and no dishwasher and no washing machine. We've all been there, right? There's just no room for all that crap. We can't have all that stuff, and I get it. But excluding that, the part I hear about convenience is they don't like physically having to put games in and out of their console. Like, I don't like it. I just like to be able to stop a game and then click over a couple of little items on a menu and then start the next game. Okay, fine. Yes, that's more convenient than getting up and taking your disc out of the freaking console. I don't know who's swapping I don't know who's swapping games this often. It's never even been an issue to me ever. But you know what's a lot more freaking inconvenient? Filling up your freaking hard drive constantly and having to delete games off of it and download the games again, which takes forever because they're like 120 something gigabytes. I know some people that have like 4 external hard drives for their PS5 that they hot swap out because different games are installed on them. You're gonna tell me that is more convenient than just popping the disc in and out? I don't agree with that. It's more convenient to live in a hotel than it is to live in a house or an apartment. You can trash the freaking hotel. You have maids that clean up after you. When you walk downstairs, there's a freaking restaurant there. They park your car for you. You have all the free soap you want in the world. You don't pay a water bill. You don't pay a power bill. Or you don't have to pay a cable bill, man. You have like all the channels. You even have pay-per-view and stuff. What a dream. It's so convenient. But no one in their right mind would ever say living in a hotel is a better idea than just living in a house. That's crazy, because it's so expensive. You're paying so much for the convenience. People are so strange about convenience. They'll give away their rights, they'll give away their privacy for convenience. There's all this talk about people spying on you, yet we all put like smart devices like Alexa, don't turn on Alexa, and things like that, because it's convenient to just like yell out for it to turn the lights on and off. I do it all the time myself. Is it really the best thing to do? No. What's better is just to get up and walk the 15 feet across the room and turn on the light switch. But it's convenience. But this leads me to my next point. And this is the point that I never hear anybody talk about. And that point is equity. Equity. That's the most adult word there is in the entire world. Go to any 16-year-old in the world and ask them what the word equity means, and then ask a freaking 75-year-old what equity means. You're going to get a lot of different answers, because that's something that goes from having no value to having all the value, right? Equity. I always hear people say that one of the benefits of having a large collection is like, you can sell the collection. If you ever need money, if you ever get hard up for money, you can just sell the games. And that's true. You can totally do that. But that's so short-sighted. I've been fortunate enough that in my adult life, I've never had to really sell anything to get money. I've always saved my money, and in any case of any emergencies, I had the money to take care of it. I've been lucky like that. Now, I know there are many people out there that have to sell games to make money. I buy games from plenty of people I know that get hard up and they have to sell them. It's a bummer, but it's just the way of life. But not every person out there is in that situation. The other thing people talk about with equity is video games as an investment. Like, I bought it because I thought it was a good game and it was sealed and I got it slabbed and it's going to appreciate. No. Say what you want about the idea of collecting video games as an investment, speculating on video games. It's bad because the majority of the people in the hobby are not investors. The people that are really driving the prices, like the 95% of people buying video games, are hobbyists. And guess what they don't like? They don't like the people out there investing in their hobby and making money off of it. So the people that are investing are actively competing against the people that don't want them to invest in it. Yeah, you might be able to like invest a little bit and make some money here and there, but overall you're competing against a large market that is very much against investing. I don't like buying games for monetary value. I don't care about the value of the games other than what it costs me to buy them and play them. I have bought games that I played digitally that I wanted a physical copy on the shelf, and I bought them and left them sealed as just like a memory to leave there. But never have I bought a game and thought, I'm going to sell this again later and make money off of it. That seems like a bad road to go down. And if you do that as a business and you flip stuff, now that's one thing. But if you're using it as an investment vehicle to park your money in for a while, so your value of your collection goes up and then you're going to dump it all later for a big profit, no. That's not going to work. But the real equity in these video games is what it actually is. It's just equity. It's the value of the things you own. Most Americans, their value of their net worth is tied up in their house. They buy their house, they live in their house, they fix their house, they repair their house, they improve their house, and over time the value of their house goes up. And when that person dies one day, they look at them and they're judged by the economy on how successful they were in life. What was their net worth? And usually the house is the majority of it. They're worth $500,000. And video games work the same way, to a much lesser extent. Let me mind you, much lesser extent. People always say, how could you spend $500 on a video game? How'd you spend $500 on a game? I didn't spend $500 on a game. I took $500 of cash that was sitting in a savings account and I bought a game that's worth $500 that sits on a shelf. Yes, I'm missing out on the small amount of interest that $500 would have gotten me in the savings account, but I'm trading that for the ability to play the game and have something to look at on the shelf. That $500 is still there in value. I could sell it for the $500. The game could appreciate over years. It could depreciate. It doesn't matter. That money is still there. I didn't spend it. I just transferred it from one medium to another. It's not like when you buy a cheeseburger for $500, which is what they cost now if you go to like Five Guys. You spend that money. That money's gone. You ate it. I didn't buy the $500 game and eat it. And that's one of the flaws with digital games. You spend that money. That money is spent. If you pay $80 for Call of Duty and you buy it digitally, you spent that $80. You can't resell that digital game. It has no value. If you take your console to GameStop to trade it in, they just delete all the games off of it. They don't give you extra value for it. Whereas if you'd spent that money on a physical game, although it would have depreciated rapidly, there would still be some value there, $5 or $10 after years. Now my collection down here, I just had appraised by an insurance adjuster. I have to do it every few years, and it's worth well over $150,000. Now, did I spend $150,000 on it? No, not even remotely close. More like a third of that, with 6 figures of video games, which I've enjoyed over the years and played. I didn't go out of my way to buy these games to make an investment. It just happened naturally. Like when you buy a house, it naturally appreciates over time. And do I really care about that? Not really. The only thing I care about the value with games is how much they cost to buy. That's how much is it going to cost me to play the game, right? I think most people are in that boat. I still would have bought all these games even if they were worth nothing after I bought them, because I just want to play them. But that's not reality. That's not how it works. They do have value. They have equity. And that equity adds to your net worth. So let's have big grown-up talk. What is net worth worth? What is net worth worth? Well, you know what you can do with it? Leverage it. There it is. Leverage. That's the thing nobody ever talks about with their game collection. You can leverage the value of your game collection. What does that mean? Well, it means you can borrow money against the value of that game collection. I could go down to a bank right now and say, I want to start a video game store. And they would say, okay, well, do you have enough money to put down on this loan? How much do you want to borrow? And I'll say, I need $1 million. And they would say, well, sir, you need 15% of that $1 million to secure the loan. We don't trust you enough with that money, not yet, to just give it to you. We need to know you've got something worth some money. So if you totally royally screw up, we know we can get some money back. Well, guess what I have that's worth 15% of $1 million? This video game collection. And you may say, that would never happen. People don't leverage that. That's how billionaires run their entire life. That's how they literally pay no income tax. They take out loans based on the net worth of the stocks they own in their own companies and then live off that money. They don't have to pay any income tax on the money they borrowed because it wasn't income, it's borrowed money. And in the meantime, the value of their company goes up higher than the interest they own on the loan, so they don't lose any money. What do you know? They cracked the system. And now you're gonna say, but RNG Gamer, those are freaking billionaires, man. They rigged the system and everything works for them. That doesn't happen for normal people. You're right about them rigging the system, but it does happen for normal people. It happened for me. As a matter of fact, when I went to buy this house right here, I went to make an offer on it. And I had several different loan companies competing against each other to try to give me the best rate to buy this house. When it came time to buy it, they asked if you have enough for a down payment or if you have enough equity to cover the loan if something goes wrong and you go upside down on the house. Well, it was a Sunday. I wanted to lock the loan rate in. Couldn't call my bank to let them see how much I had in my accounts. I could not get a certified letter from my retirement accounts from work to send to the loan officer to get the loan for the house. But you know what I had? The insurance appraisal on this game collection. And the guy's like, do you have any equity that can help you secure this loan for this house? And I was like, well, I got this $130,000 game collection. And the guy's like, oh yeah, that'll work, approved. He approved the loan. The fact that I had the equity in these games saved me 0.5 point on interest over the course of 30 years, which worked out to like tens of thousands of dollars. That being said, and I know that I don't want this to be like an investment strategy video. I'm not offering investment advice. Don't listen to me. Okay, I'm just some dude. Most people don't care about any of that stuff. They don't plan long-term about this. They don't think about the future of what they buy. All they care about is how much is it going to cost to buy this game that I want to play right now, and that's it. That's where it ends. They play that game for a little bit, then they get the next game, right? And that's what the companies want you to do. That's why they schedule releases the way they do, to entice you to play one game up until the next game comes out. Then you buy the next game. You can see that with all the sports titles out there. And when you do that digitally, well, you're just paying a subscription fee essentially to access entertainment. That's all it is. Because you're not buying the games. You don't own the rights to the games when you buy them digitally. You're purchasing a license to access the game until the company that makes the game revokes the license, which happens. We've seen that happen several times now. People bought games digitally or movies or TV shows and they no longer have access to it because the company revoked the rights for it. Now, people used to do this same thing back when I was younger with physical games. They would go buy a new game at GameStop for $50. They'd bring it home, they'd play it for a week. They'd take it back to GameStop and they'd trade it in for $35. And they'd take that $35 and they'd put it towards the next $50 game. So they're like, really? They're only paying like $15 to play each game. Buying digitally is just doing that without being able to get that $35 back. It's just a worse version of what we had to do before. And you can still do that. You can literally do that right now. You can go to GameStop and buy the new game and play it and go trade it in, but people just buy them digitally. Why? Convenience. There's another word we use for that. when there's something that benefits you, but you just don't feel like putting the work in to do it. We call that laziness. And you see that with companies like DoorDash. People will pay markups on food and then pay to have it delivered and then tip someone for delivering it so that they don't have to make a sandwich or just run down to the local fast food place and grab the food. And I know some people get home from work and they're just too exhausted to cook and they order takeout or whatever and have it delivered. That's different. That's not laziness. You already worked a full day. I'm talking about someone that's not doing anything. They're just sitting on their butt and then they order DoorDash. Or they're not doing anything and they're just sitting on the butt and they download the game rather than like going to the store to buy it physically and then have to go back and trade it in. So where does this lead me? Nowhere. It doesn't lead anywhere. It's just me ranting. I just had to get this off my chest. It's important. But I do think that the laziness and convenience will win out in the end. I think the main console manufacturers will go all digital probably in the next generation or two, within the next 10 years. But I think there will always be physical games out there for collectors and people that want them. Consoles like the Evercade, Homebrews, these like re-release collectible versions of old games that are coming out that like limited run games and Retrobit put out. I think there will always be something like that. Even things like these little Tap2 cards, which this is just an NFC tag that accesses a ROM on like an emulator console, right? But this is a physical thing that's made that sits on a shelf that allows you to do that. There will always be things like this. Now, maybe one day the powers that be, the lawmakers out there on their high pedestals up at the Capitol, will pass some sort of legislation saying that you can buy and sell and trade digital products. And I would like that. I think that would be very hard to regulate. And I think it would be very difficult to add the DRM to them to make sure that they're not just copied infinitely. Because I think companies would push against that, obviously, because they're going to lose money, of course, because everything doesn't have to be directly bought and sold by them. But that gives me like NFT vibes. Remember NFTs, non-fungible tokens, like these digital asset artworks that like these movie stars paid freaking like $6 million for an NFT and then 6 months later it was worth like 20 grand. like all these crazy stories. It could end up something like that. So I'll hold off on my judgment for that for a while. In conclusion, digital versus physical. I think a lot of the arguments on both sides are very good. Digital being cheaper is usually just not true unless it's like a Steam sale or something like that. If it's some huge mega sale where everything's 90% off, you got me. You got me. That's definitely cheaper. But like on the PlayStation Store, almost every one of those games is more expensive than just buying it physically. Also, if you just care about playing the games, buying them physically and trading them in and getting that equity out of them to put towards the next game, I mean, that's the most economical way to do it. So everybody has their reasons for physical, everybody has their reasons for digital. I hope this video introduced you to some of the reasons on the other side of the coin so you can learn more about it. Now, I don't have anything against digital really. I don't really do it because most of the games I want to play come out physically anyway, and I'd like to get that equity out of them. But I have nothing against a digital game that never got a physical release, although I do often hold off on them till a physical comes out, and usually they do. We know where I stand on this side of the argument, obviously. But what do I know? I'm just a 42-year-old man who's planning to retire in the next 6 years. Maybe I have no idea what I'm talking about. If this is your first time watching and you liked the video, I hope you'd be willing to do that for me. Subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment. I answer every one of them, and give me a like. That really is the best way to help me with the YouTube algorithm. The messages you saw before and the names you're seeing on the screen right now, well, those are from my Patreon supporters and my YouTube channel members. Links to those are in the description down below. For as little as 99 cents a month, you get access to the videos early, you get access to member-exclusive videos, you get access to my Discord, which I know you guys out there all love to talk to me. And that's how you can do it. And I'll catch you guys next week.